What would you do if your entire family secretly plotted to turn you into the default babysitter for every cousin while they enjoyed a carefree holiday? I thought I was invited to Thanksgiving as a daughter, a sister, and an equal. But what I overheard in that kitchen at 2:30 p.m. made me realize I was nothing more than their built-in childcare. That was the moment I decided this year. I'd change everything. They wanted free labor. They'd get exactly what they paid for nothing. My name is Emily Carter, and at 34, I've somehow become my family's unpaid event coordinator, emergency babysitter, and all-around problem solver. I work as a marketing manager at Brightline Media Group in Chicago, where I manage million-dollar campaigns and lead a team of 12. My colleagues respect my boundaries, value my time, and actually ask before adding things to my plate. But the moment I step through my childhood home's door in Ohio, I transform into something else entirely, the reliable single daughter who's always available. It wasn't always this way. Before Dad died 8 years ago, there was balance. He saw me as more than just a helping hand. He saw me as his daughter with dreams, ambitions, and a life of my own. But after the cancer took him, Mom, Mary Ann Carter, started leaning on me harder and harder. First, it was just helping with funeral arrangements. Then it became managing estate paperwork. Before I knew it, I was the default person for everything family-related, despite living 4 hours away. My older sister Olivia is a high-powered lawyer at Morrison & Associates, married to an equally successful surgeon. They have twin daughters, Madison and Mackenzie. Both 6 years old and handful, doesn't begin to describe them. Whenever Olivia visits Mom, she arrives like visiting royalty, expecting everything to be prepared and someone guess who to watch the twins while she catches up with old friends or needs a break. She never asks, she announces, "Emily, you're so good with them," she'll say, already halfway out the door. Then there's Michael, my younger brother. At 31, he works as a mechanic at a local shop and has 3 kids with his wife Sarah Tyler's 10. Obsessed with video games. Emma's 7, going through a princess phase, and little Jake's 4, still in his destructive tornado stage. Michael assumes I'll babysit whenever he and Sarah want a date night during family gatherings. "Come on, Em," he'll say with that boyish grin. "You don't have kids of your own to worry about. Help us out." That phrase, "you don't have kids of your own," has become my family's favorite weapon. As if being single and childless at 34 means I exist solely to serve those who made different choices. As if my time has less value because I haven't procreated. As if my career, my friends, my relationship with Daniel, whom I've been dating for 6 months but haven't mentioned to them yet, mean nothing. The pattern is always the same. Mom calls with her sweet, guilt-laden voice. "Emily, honey, we need you." And like a well-trained dog, I respond. Birthday parties where I'm not a guest, but the designated child wrangler. Christmas dinners where I cook, serve, and clean while everyone else relaxes by the fireplace. Easter egg hunts where I'm hiding eggs at 6 a.m., while Olivia sleeps in and Michael shows up late. 2 weeks ago, Mom called about Thanksgiving. "Everyone must come home," she insisted, her voice carrying that tone that brooked no argument. "It's been too long since we've all been together. I'm not getting any younger. Emily, who knows how many more Thanksgivings we'll have? The Guilt Trip Express, right on schedule." "Of course, Mom," I heard myself saying, even as my stomach twisted. "What do you need me to bring?" "Oh, the usual, that green bean casserole you make, and maybe some of those homemade rolls. And could you come Wednesday night to help set up Olivia, and Michael won't get in until Thursday morning?" The usual, which meant I'd bring half the meal, funded from my own pocket, which meant I'd spend Wednesday night cleaning Mom's house, setting the table with the good china, and prepping vegetables while Mom supervised from her recliner, claiming her arthritis was acting up the same arthritis that mysteriously vanishes when her book club meets for wine tasting. I should have seen it coming, should have recognized the signs. The way Mom kept mentioning how exhausted Olivia's been with her big case, how Michael and Sarah desperately need some adult time, how the kids just adore their Aunt Emily. The groundwork was being laid, brick by manipulative brick, for what they had planned. But I didn't see it. Not until that moment in the kitchen at 2:30 p.m. Not until I heard them laughing about their scheme, completely confident that reliable, single, childless Emily would play her designated role without complaint. They were wrong. This year, everything would change. I arrived at Mom's house Wednesday afternoon at 2 p.m. My car loaded with grocery bags I'd paid for myself, organic turkey, fresh cranberries, imported cheese, and all the ingredients for the dishes I'd been asked to make. The November air was crisp, leaves crunching under my feet as I made multiple trips from the car. Mom watched from the window, waving cheerfully but not coming out to help. "Emily, sweetheart, you're a lifesaver," she said when I finally hauled everything inside. "I don't know what we'd do without you." I spent the next 3 hours cleaning, despite Mom insisting she'd already tidied up. The guest bathroom needed scrubbing, the dining room had a layer of dust, and the kitchen was in its usual state of organized chaos. Mom sat at the kitchen table, directing my efforts while scrolling through Facebook on her iPad. "Make sure you use the good tablecloth," she reminded me. "The one from your grandmother. Olivia likes things to look nice." Of course Olivia did, and of course I was the one making it happen. By 5:30 p.m., I was exhausted but pushed through. I started prepping vegetables for Thursday, chopping celery and onions for stuffing, washing and trimming green beans. Mom had disappeared to watch her shows, occasionally calling out suggestions from the living room. Around 6:45 p.m., my phone buzzed with texts from my siblings. Olivia sent a list of the twins' dietary restrictions, apparently new since last month. Michael asked if I could pick up beer since he forgot. Neither asked how I was or if I needed help. I was washing dishes, thinking about Daniel and how he'd offered to come with me, when I heard Mom's voice from the dining room. She must have thought I was still outside getting something from my car because she wasn't even trying to lower her voice. "She'll be here soon," Mom was saying. I froze, dish towel in my hands. The she had to be me. Perfect timing. Olivia's voice came through the phone speaker. Mom must have had her on speakerphone. "I cannot deal with the twins for an entire dinner. They've been absolutely feral lately." "That's what Emily's for," Mom laughed. "She's so good with children. Natural maternal instincts, even if she refuses to have any of her own." My stomach clenched, but I stayed frozen, listening. "Michael and Sarah are counting on it too," Mom continued. "Sarah texted me yesterday practically begging for an adult meal. She said if she has to cut up one more person's food while hers gets cold, she'll scream." "So what's the plan?" Olivia asked. "Simple. We'll do appetizers with everyone together. Then around 2:30 p.m., we'll suggest Emily takes the kids to eat in the kitchen while we have our proper dinner in the dining room. She can make them plates, help them eat, keep them entertained." "Won't she complain?" Olivia sounded slightly worried. Mom scoffed. "Emily never complains. Besides, what else does she have to do? It's not like she brought a date. She's basically free childcare at this point." "God, Mom," Olivia laughed, and the sound made my blood boil. "That's a little harsh." "But true," Mom replied. "She's single, no kids, and let's be honest, probably not going anywhere romantically anytime soon. Might as well make herself useful to the family. That's what family does." "Still feels a bit exploitative," Olivia said, though she was still chuckling. "Oh, please," Mom dismissed. "Emily loves those kids, and she's too single to have plans of her own anyway. What would she do? Eat alone in her apartment? This way, she gets a free meal and family time." "Free meal?" Olivia snorted. "Didn't she buy half the groceries?" "Well, she offered," Mom said defensively. "Besides, she makes more money than Michael and doesn't have kids to support. It evens out." I heard Michael's voice join in. He must have just arrived at Mom's or been added to the call. "Are we still doing the kid table thing? Because Sarah and I are really looking forward to actually tasting our food this year." "All handled," Mom assured him. "Emily will watch all 5 kids. You three couples can finally have an adult conversation. Couples. 3 couples. Mom and her new boyfriend, Roger, whom she'd been dating for 6 months. Olivia and her husband, James. Michael and Sarah. And then me, the pathetic single sister relegated to the children's table like hired help. She's basically our built-in babysitter. Michael laughed. Remember last Christmas she spent the entire day playing referee while we drank wine and played cards. And she never asks for anything in return, Olivia added. Honestly, we're lucky she's so accommodating. Accommodating. That's what they called it. I stood there in the kitchen, their laughter echoing through the house. Each word a dagger. They weren't even trying to hide their conspiracy. They were celebrating it. Celebrating me. Or rather, celebrating their ability to use me. My hands shook as I quietly set down the dish towel. This wasn't a family planning a holiday. This was a group of adults scheming to dump their responsibilities on the one person they'd collectively decided didn't matter enough to have her own seat at the adult table. I slipped out the back door, needing air, needing space, needing to process what I'd just heard. In my entire life, I'd never felt so small, so used, so utterly insignificant to the people who were supposed to love me most. I drove home to Chicago that night in complete silence, not even turning on the radio. The 3-hour drive felt both endless and too short, my mind replaying their words over and over. Basically free childcare. Too single to have plans of her own. She never complains. By the time I reached my apartment at 11:15 p.m., I was exhausted but too wired to sleep. I poured myself a glass of wine and sat on my couch, staring at nothing. My phone buzzed with texts from Mom asking where I'd gone, saying she'd found the kitchen half cleaned. I didn't respond. The next morning, Thanksgiving Day, I called in sick to the universe. I texted Rachel, my best friend since college, and asked if she could talk. She answered on the second ring. "Shouldn't you be elbow deep in turkey prep right now?" she asked cheerfully. "I left," I said, and the words came pouring out. Everything I'd overheard, years of resentment I'd bottled up, the rage I'd suppressed for so long. Rachel listened, occasionally making angry noises on my behalf. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. "Emily," she said finally, her voice firm, "they don't see you as family. They see you as staff. Unpaid staff." "That's harsh," I protested weakly. "Is it? When was the last time they came to visit you in Chicago? When did they ever offer to help with anything in your life? Did any of them come to your promotion celebration dinner last year?" I was quiet. They hadn't. Olivia had been too busy. Michael couldn't afford the gas, and Mom said the drive was too much for her arthritis. "You know what the difference is between you and actual hired help?" Rachel continued. "Hired help gets paid and gets respect. They get clear hours and boundaries. You get neither." "They're my family," I whispered. "No, honey." Family treats each other as equals. What you have are users who happen to share your DNA. After we hung up, I sat with her words. I thought about my life, my actual life, my job where I managed million-dollar campaigns and was respected for my expertise, my beautiful apartment that none of them had ever visited, Daniel, who I'd been keeping secret because I knew they'd find some way to diminish him or use our relationship to further prove I should be grateful for any attention. I thought about all the missed opportunities, the conferences I'd skipped to babysit, the dates I'd canceled because Mom needed me, the vacation days I'd used not for actual vacations but for family obligations, the therapy sessions where I'd talked about feeling unseen and unvalued, my therapist gently suggesting I might need to set boundaries. I opened my laptop and pulled up my bank statements. Over the past year alone, I'd spent nearly $4,000 on family gatherings groceries, gifts for the kids, gas for trips to Ohio, money that could have gone to my savings, my retirement, that trip to Italy I'd been dreaming about. I looked at photos from last Christmas. There I was in the background of every shot, holding a child, cleaning up wrapping paper, carrying dishes, never in the center, never the focus, always in motion serving others. In the few photos where I appeared clearly, I looked exhausted. Then I pulled up my work photos from the same period. There I was at the company gala, confident in my black dress, accepting an award for Campaign of the Year. There I was with my team, laughing at our celebration dinner. There I was presenting to the board, commanding the room. A completely different person, or rather, the same person finally being seen. My phone rang. Mom. Emily, where are you? It's 9 a.m. The turkey needs to go in. I'm in Chicago. Mom. What? But you were just here. You need to come back right now. Everyone's expecting you. No, I said, surprised by how steady my voice sounded. They're expecting free childcare. There's a difference. I don't know what's gotten into you. I heard you, Mom, last night, all of you, planning how to stick me with the kids while you all enjoyed an adults-only dinner. Silence. We just thought. You thought I didn't matter enough to be included with the adults. You thought I was too single to have my own life. You thought I was free labor. Emily, you're being dramatic. Am I? When was the last time any of you asked about my life? Do you know I got promoted 2 months ago? Do you know I'm dating someone? Do you know I'm happy when I'm not being treated like the help? Well, if you have a boyfriend, bring him, so he can watch me babysit while you all have adult time. No thanks. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but for the first time in years, I felt something other than exhaustion and resentment. I felt free, but I wasn't done. Not yet. They wanted me to handle Thanksgiving fine. I'd handle it. Just not the way they expected. I opened my laptop again and started searching for catering services that delivered on Thanksgiving. It was last minute, but money could solve that problem. The money I'd saved by not buying their groceries. A plan began forming in my mind. They wanted to see what life was like without me running everything they were about to find out. But I wouldn't just disappear, that was too easy. I'd make sure they had exactly what they claimed to want an adult Thanksgiving without me there to manage the chaos. The seeds of my revenge were planted, and for the first time in years, I was looking forward to Thanksgiving. After 30 minutes of searching, I found them Summit Catering, a high-end service that one of my corporate clients had used for their executive retreat. They were expensive, especially for last-minute Thanksgiving delivery, but they had availability. The owner, Marcus, remembered me from the corporate event. Emily, how can we help you today? I need a full Thanksgiving dinner delivered to Ohio, today, for 8 adults and 5 children. That's quite last minute, he said carefully. I'll pay triple your rush fee, I said without hesitation. And I need specific delivery instructions followed exactly. Marcus was suddenly very accommodating. We arranged everything traditional turkey, sides, desserts, even kid-friendly options. The total came to $1,200 less than I'd spent on family events in the past 3 months. I provided Mom's address and detailed instructions delivery at exactly 4 p.m. Everything in heating containers with printed instructions, and absolutely no mention of who paid for it. Should we include a card? Marcus asked. Yes, just right. Enjoy your adult dinner. Instructions included. After hanging up, I felt a surge of adrenaline, but I wasn't finished. If I was going to reclaim my life, I needed to reclaim everything. I drove back to Mom's house at 1:30 p.m. when I knew they'd all be at Uncle Robert's for the family football tradition. The spare key was still under the fake rock. Some things never change. Walking through the quiet house, I saw everything with fresh eyes. The hand-stitched table runners I'd made 3 years ago during my craft phase, the autumn centerpieces I'd created and paid for, the recipe box I'd carefully curated and handwritten, filled with our grandmother's recipes that I'd spent months collecting from various relatives. I gathered them all. In the china cabinet sat the sterling silver serving dishes I'd bought when Dad died, thinking they'd become family heirlooms. Mom had claimed them as her own, telling everyone they'd been in the family for generations. I wrapped them carefully in towels and took those too. The basement storage held boxes of decorations I'd accumulated over the years, Halloween costumes I'd bought for the kids, Christmas ornaments I'd collected, Easter baskets I'd assembled. Mine, all mine. Though they'd been absorbed into the family property without acknowledgement, I loaded what I could fit into my car. But the most satisfying retrieval was from the kitchen, my KitchenAid mixer in sage green, a gift to myself after my first promotion. Mom had been borrowing it for 2 years, my expensive knife set I'd bought for culinary classes, the copper pots Daniel had given me for my birthday that somehow migrated to Mom's kitchen. As I packed, memories flooded back. The mixer I'd used to make Michael's wedding cake when they couldn't afford a bakery, the knives that had prepped countless family meals, the copper pots that had simmered soups when Mom was sick, when Olivia had her twins, when anyone needed comfort food. Each item carried weight beyond its physical presence. They were symbols of my unrecognized contributions, my invisible labor, my taken-for-granted love. I found the birthday calendar I'd maintained for years, ensuring no one's special day was forgotten. Took that too. The emergency contact list I'd compiled and updated regularly mine. The household manual I'd created when Dad got sick, detailing everything from utility companies to appliance warranties, absolutely mine. In Mom's closet, I spotted the cashmere scarf I'd given her last Christmas, still with tags. Next to it, the expensive perfume from 2 years ago, unopened. The jewelry box I'd saved for months to afford, pushed behind older, cheaper items. Gifts that meant nothing to her because they came from the daughter whose value was measured only in service. I left them. Let her find them someday and maybe, just maybe, feel a flicker of shame. Loading my car took 3 trips. I worked methodically, not rushing, almost hoping someone would come home and catch me. Part of me wanted the confrontation, wanted to list every single thing I was taking and why it was mine to take. But they didn't come. They were at Uncle Robert's, probably joking about how Emily would handle dinner prep when they got back. Before leaving, I walked through the house one more time. The dining room table was still set with my grandmother's tablecloth, the one I'd rescued from a garage sale box after Mom deemed it too old-fashioned. The china was arranged exactly as I'd done it yesterday. The centerpiece I'd crafted sat perfectly positioned. I took a photo, evidence of the last time I'd set their table. Then I wrote a note on Mom's stationery, retrieved my belongings. The catering will arrive at 4 p.m. with everything you need for dinner, heating instructions included. The kids' meals are in separate containers, clearly labeled. You wanted an adult dinner without me, enjoy it. Don't call me today. I'm finally having my own Thanksgiving. E. I left it on the kitchen counter where I'd stood last night, washing dishes while they planned my servitude. As I drove away at 3:15 p.m., my car full of reclaimed possessions, my phone started buzzing. Michael was texting about where I'd put the games. I deleted it without reading the full message. Olivia sent a voice note I didn't play. Mom called twice. I declined both calls. For once, their urgency wasn't my emergency. Daniel texted, "How did it go?" I got everything that was mine. I replied, "Ready for our trip. Cabin's waiting, just you, me, and absolutely no family drama." I smiled, really smiled, for the first time in days. The Smoky Mountains were calling, and for once, I was answering only to myself. The 3 days leading up to Thanksgiving were a masterclass in strategic vagueness. I'd learned from years of corporate negotiations that sometimes the best response was no response at all. Let them fill the silence with their own assumptions. Mom texted on Monday, "Emily, did you get the cranberry sauce? The store here is already out." I replied, "I'll see what I can do." She interpreted this as yes. I meant exactly what I said I'd seen what I could do, and what I could do was nothing. Tuesday brought a barrage from Olivia. "The twins want to do a Thanksgiving play. Can you help them with costumes? Maybe pilgrim hats, and Madison is insisting on being a turkey." "I'll see what I can do." She sent back a heart emoji and "You're the best," already mentally assigning me the task of crafting costumes from scratch. No doubt. Michael's texts were predictably last minute. "Hey, Em, Sarah wants to know if you can make that spinach dip thing the kids actually eat, and maybe grab some beer. The good stuff, not that cheap crap Mom buys. I'll see what I can do." "Cool, thanks, sis." Oh, and batteries for the Xbox controllers. Jake broke the charger again. I didn't even respond to that one. Let him assume silence meant compliance. Wednesday afternoon. Mom called while I was packing for the cabin trip. I let it go to voicemail, then listened. "Emily, honey, just checking you're still coming tonight to help set up. I've got my book club until 6 p.m. But you have the key. Maybe start the pies. And the dining room could use a quick vacuum. See you soon." I texted back. "I'll see what I can do. Thank you. Sweetheart, don't know what we'd do without you." "You're about to find out," I thought, folding my new hiking boots into my suitcase. Daniel watched me from the doorway of my bedroom, bemused. "You're enjoying this way too much." 8 years, I said, zipping up my bag. 8 years of Emily will handle it. Emily doesn't mind. Emily has nothing better to do. So yes, I'm enjoying this immensely. He wrapped his arms around me from behind. "You sure you don't want to just tell them you're not coming? Where's the lesson in that? They need to experience the full weight of my absence. Every cranky kid, every cold dish, every moment they have to actually parent their own children. Remind me never to get on your bad side." He laughed. Wednesday evening, while my family assumed I was at Mom's house prepping and cleaning, Daniel and I were at Whole Foods, shopping for our own Thanksgiving. We bought fresh pasta, expensive wine, artisanal cheeses, everything for a romantic dinner that had nothing to do with turkey or tradition. "Your phone's buzzing again," Daniel noted as we picked out dessert. I glanced at it. Olivia asking where I'd put the kids' craft supplies. Michael wanting to know if I'd picked up the drinks yet. Mom wondering why the house was still dark. Wasn't I there yet? "I'll see what I can do," I murmured, typing the same response to all three. "That's becoming your catchphrase," Daniel observed. "It's perfect, isn't it? Not a yes, not a no, just a possibility that they interpret however they want. They're so used to me saying yes that they can't imagine I mean anything else." Thursday morning, as we loaded the car for our trip to the mountains, my phone lit up with the family group chat I'd been ignoring. "Mom, Emily must be running late. Not like her." Michael, "She probably stopped for last-minute stuff. You know, Em." Olivia, "Tell her the twins are already asking for Aunt Emily." I switched my phone to airplane mode, then reconsidered and turned it back on. I wanted to see the messages when they realized. I wanted to watch the panic unfold in real time. Daniel had chosen the perfect cabin 2 hours from Chicago, nestled in the mountains, with a hot tub and a view that made you forget the rest of the world existed. We arrived at noon, and I felt my shoulders drop for the first time in weeks. "You know they're going to lose their minds," Daniel said as we unpacked groceries. "That's the point. They've taken me for granted for so long. They can't even conceive of a Thanksgiving without me managing everything. Mom actually said I'm too single to have plans. Like being unmarried means I exist in a void, waiting to serve married people." "Well, you're not single anymore," he said, kissing my forehead. "And you definitely have plans." I'd been dating Daniel for 6 months, keeping him secret from my family because I knew how they'd react. Either they'd dismiss him as not serious because we weren't engaged yet, or they'd immediately start asking when we were having kids so the cousins could have playmates. There was no winning with them, so I chose not to play. As we opened wine at 2 p.m., I checked my phone one more time. 17 missed calls, 43 texts. The family group chat was escalating from confusion to concern to irritation. Michael, "Has anyone actually heard from Emily today?" Olivia, "She said she'd handle the costumes. The twins are having meltdowns." Mom, "This is so unlike her. Should we be worried?" I looked at the time. 2:30 p.m. Exactly when they'd planned to exile me to the kitchen with the kids. Perfect timing for my response. I took a photo of the mountain view from the cabin's deck, my wine glass visible in the corner. Then I typed my message. I won't be babysitting this year. Enjoy your adult dinner. The catering arrives at 4 p.m., instructions included. Then I turned off my phone completely. Let them marinate in that for a while. Feel better? Daniel asked, handing me a piece of cheese. I feel free, I said, and meant it. For the first time in years, I'm exactly where I want to be, doing exactly what I want to do. No regrets. I thought about it. Ask me tomorrow. Right now. I'm just grateful to be here with you instead of washing dishes while they eat without me. The mountain air was crisp, the wine was perfect, and somewhere in Ohio, my family was about to learn what Thanksgiving looked like without their built-in help. It was going to be a very good day. At 3:45 p.m., I turned my phone back on. The avalanche of notifications nearly crashed the device. Daniel and I sat on the cabin's couch, watching the family group chat implode in real time like some kind of dystopian reality show. Mom, 3:20 p.m. Emily Carter, call me right now. Olivia, 3:22 p.m. Are you seriously not coming? The twins are asking for you. Michael, 3:25 p.m. What the hell, Emily? We need batteries in the beer. Sarah's pissed. Mom, 3:30 p.m. I don't understand what catering you're talking about. We have no food prepared. The missed calls were climbing 23, 24, 25, each voicemail more frantic than the last. I played them on speaker for Daniel, who was trying not to laugh too loudly. Mom's first voicemail, still attempting calm. Emily, sweetie, we're all waiting for you. Please call back. Mom's fifth voicemail, calm, completely abandoned. Emily Marie Carter, this is your mother. I don't know what kind of stunt you're pulling, but you need to get here right now. The children are hungry. Olivia had tried a different approach, leaving a voice message dripping with lawyer speak. Emily, your absence today is really impacting the family. The twins were promised time with their aunt, and frankly, this is very disappointing behavior. Michael's messages were the shortest and most direct. What the fuck? M, followed by, seriously, where's the beer? At 4 p.m. Exactly. I knew the Summit catering van would be pulling into Mom's driveway. I pictured Marcus's team unloading the professionally packed containers, ringing the doorbell with their crisp uniforms and efficient smiles. The texts started rolling in immediately. Mom, Emily, what is this? There's a catering truck here. Olivia, did you seriously order food instead of coming? Michael, wait, is this actual food? Like we can eat it. Mom, they're leaving. They just put everything on the porch and left Emily. How do we heat this? I finally responded to the group chat. Everything has instructions. The children's meals are in the containers marked kids. The adult food is labeled separately. Heating directions are on each container. You wanted an adult dinner without me enjoy it. Then I added, oh, and Mom. I took my belongings from the house yesterday. The mixer, my serving dishes, my recipes. They were never yours to keep. The typing indicators showed everyone starting and stopping messages repeatedly. Finally. Olivia wrote, you broke into Mom's house. Used my key to retrieve my property. I corrected. Very different legally. Counselor. Michael, you took the good mixer, Mom. You said that was yours. Mom, this is not the time. Michael. I watched the chaos unfold for a few more minutes. Mom trying to maintain control. Olivia attempting to threaten me with legal consequences that didn't exist. Michael mostly concerned about whether the catering included beer. It did. I wasn't completely heartless. Then came the call I'd been expecting. Mom, but on FaceTime. I debated not answering, but the petty part of me wanted her to see how unbothered I was. I accepted, making sure the mountain view was visible behind me. Emily, she started, and I could see her face was flushed, her careful Thanksgiving makeup already smudging. How could you do this to us? Do what? Exactly. Provide a fully catered meal so you could have the adult dinner you wanted. You know that's not we need you here. The children are with their parents, where they should be. Behind her, I could hear chaos. One of the twins was crying. Jake was apparently throwing rolls at Tyler. Emma was demanding to know where Aunt Emily was because she was the only one who cut her turkey the right way. "This is cruel," Mom said, her voice cracking. "On Thanksgiving, Emily. Family should be together on Thanksgiving." Funny how I'm family when you need something, but not family enough to sit at the adult table. "What are you talking about?" "Wednesday night. Mom, I heard everything. How you all planned to stick me with the kids while you enjoyed your proper dinner. How I'm basically free childcare. How I'm too single to have plans of my own." The color drained from her face. Behind her, I saw Olivia freeze mid-reach for something. "Ho? We didn't mean..." "Yes, you did. You meant every word. And you were so confident I'd go along with it. You didn't even whisper. Why would you? Good old reliable Emily never complains." "Where even are you?" she demanded, deflecting. "With someone who actually values my company," I said, as Daniel's hand appeared in frame, squeezing my shoulder. "You have a boyfriend." Olivia had grabbed the phone, her face replacing Mom's. "Since when?" "6 months. Not that any of you ever asked about my life." "Why didn't you tell us?" "Why would I? So you could calculate how to use him too. Make him help Michael with car repairs, have him move furniture. Or would you just dismiss him because we're not married yet? So it doesn't count." More chaos in the background. Sarah's voice, sharp and stressed. "Michael, can you please help me? Jake just spilled juice everywhere and Tyler won't stop playing that game." "I have to go," Olivia said, shoving the phone back to Mom. "Emily," Mom tried again. "Please come home." "I am home," I said, looking around the cozy cabin. Or at least somewhere I'm wanted as a person, not as staff. The food I sent will feed everyone well. The kids' containers have mac and cheese, chicken tenders, all their favorites. You have a feast for the adults, everything you said you wanted. "But not you," she said quietly. "No," I agreed. "Not me. Not anymore. Not like this." "What about Christmas?" she asked desperately. "What about it? I'm sure you can find another babysitting service by then." Or, "Here's a wild idea: the parents could actually watch their own children." I heard Michael in the background. "Mom, how do we work the oven? These instructions don't make sense." "I have to go," Mom said, tears in her eyes. "This isn't over, Emily." "You're right," I said. "It's just beginning. My life. On my terms. Happy Thanksgiving." "Mom." I ended the call before she could respond. My hands were shaking, but I felt lighter than air. "You okay?" Daniel asked, pulling me close. "You know what?" I said, surprising myself with a laugh. "I'm fantastic. For the first time in 8 years, I'm not washing a single dish, cutting anyone's food, or pretending to be happy while being treated like hired help." We clinked our wine glasses as my phone buzzed with more messages I wouldn't read until tomorrow. Maybe not even then. The sun was setting over the mountains, painting the sky in oranges and purples. Somewhere in Ohio, my family was figuring out how to heat up a catered meal and parent their own children, and I was exactly where I belonged. By 6 p.m., the family group chat had become a digital disaster zone. I sat in the hot tub with Daniel, phone propped safely on a towel nearby, watching the messages roll in like a soap opera written by chaos itself. "Michael, Mom, the mashed potatoes are cold in the middle. How long do we heat them?" Olivia, "The twins won't eat the mac and cheese because it's not the way Emily makes it." Mom, "Has anyone figured out the turkey? It looks done, but the thermometer says something different." Sarah, who rarely texted in the family chat. "Jake just had a complete meltdown. He threw green beans everywhere. I'm done. Done." Michael, "Babe, don't text that here." Sarah, "Why not everyone should know what a disaster this is? Where's the iPad? The kids need something to watch or I'm leaving." Olivia, "James had to go lie down. His migraine is back." Mom, "The gravy separated. How does gravy separate Emily? If you're reading this, how do I fix separated gravy?" I took a sip of champagne. "Yes, we'd upgraded from wine and showed Daniel the screen. 8 years of taking me for granted, and they can't handle one meal." The individual texts were even better. Olivia had sent me 12 messages in a row, starting with legal threats about removing property from Mom's house and devolving into desperate pleas for parenting advice. Apparently, Madison was refusing to eat anything because Aunt Emily didn't make it, and Mackenzie had locked herself in the bathroom in protest. Michael's texts were mostly complaints. "This is bullshit. Sarah's crying. Tyler won't get off the Xbox. Mom's having a breakdown in the kitchen. And my personal favorite, the beer you sent is IPA. You know I hate IPA." Actually, I did know. That's why I'd specifically requested it from Marcus. Mom had attempted video calling 4 more times. I declined each one but could see the preview screenshots, her hair increasingly disheveled, her lipstick completely gone, what looked like cranberry sauce on her blouse. At 6:45 p.m., a new player entered the game. Roger, Mom's boyfriend, who'd apparently just arrived to absolute pandemonium. Roger: "Emily, your mother is very upset. This is inappropriate on a holiday. Families should be together." I actually laughed out loud at that one. Roger, who'd been dating Mom for 6 months and had met me exactly twice, was going to lecture me about family I didn't even bother responding. By 7:30 p.m., the messages shifted tone. The anger was morphing into something else realization. "Olivia, I had no idea you did so much. Mom just told me you usually make 6 different dishes." 6? Michael: "Sarah made me calculate how much you usually spend on these dinners. Holy shit, Em. We owe you like thousands of dollars." Mom sent a voice message, her tone defeated. The turkey was dry. The sides were fine, but not like yours. The kids barely ate. Roger left early, said it was too chaotic. Olivia and James are fighting. Michael and Sarah took the kids to McDonald's. Yes, McDonald's on Thanksgiving. This is what you wanted, right, to punish us. I finally responded to that one. I wanted you to see me as an equal member of this family, not unpaid labor. I wanted to eat at the same table, at the same time, with the same respect. That's all I've ever wanted. The response was immediate. Mom tried calling again. I let it go to voicemail and listened later. "Emily, sweetheart, I understand now. We took advantage. I see that. The house feels wrong without you here, but not just because of the cooking or the children. Because you're missing. My daughter is missing from Thanksgiving." It was the first genuine emotion I'd heard from her that wasn't about what I could do for them. Olivia texted privately. "Mom's crying, like, really crying. She keeps looking at your chair." "My chair at the kids' table," I responded. "No. She set a place for you at the dining room table, with the adults. She's been staring at it all evening." That hit harder than I expected. But I wasn't ready to fold. Michael added to the group chat. "Kids want to FaceTime you to say goodnight. Is that okay?" This was the manipulation I'd expected earlier, using the children to guilt me. But I could hear Daniel's voice in my head. "They're kids. It's not their fault." 5 minutes, I replied. Just the kids. When the call came through, 5 little faces crowded the screen. Tyler, trying to be the mature one at 10, was holding the phone while the others pushed in around him. "Aunt Emmy." Jake's voice rang out. "Where are you?" "I'm taking a little vacation," I told them. "Why didn't you come to dinner?" Emma asked, her princess tiara crooked on her head. "Sometimes adults need breaks," I said carefully, "but I made sure you had good food, right?" "It wasn't the same," Madison said solemnly. "You make it better." "The mac and cheese was weird," Mackenzie added. "I threw up," Jake announced proudly. "Dad says it's 'cause I ate too many rolls." "Mom cried," Tyler said quietly, "and Grandma was really sad. Everyone kept saying your name." I felt Daniel's hand squeeze mine under the water. "I love you all very much," I told them, "but sometimes Aunt Emily needs to take care of herself too." "Like when Mommy goes to the spa?" Emma asked. "Exactly like that," I said, though Olivia's spa days were monthly while this was my first break in 8 years. "Will you come for Christmas?" Tyler asked. We'll see, I said. Now go get ready for bed. It's late. After they hung up, I sat quietly in the hot tub, staring at the stars. Daniel didn't push, just held my hand and let me process. My phone buzzed with one final message from Mom. They adore you. We all do. We just forgot to show it. I'm sorry. Emily, we turned you into the help instead of seeing you as the gift you are. I don't know how to fix this, but I want to try. I didn't respond. Not yet. They needed to sit with this feeling a bit longer, the feeling of a Thanksgiving without me. The chaos, the work, the exhaustion, everything I'd shouldered silently for years. Tomorrow, maybe I'd start answering. Maybe we'd begin the long conversation about boundaries and respect and what family really meant. But tonight was mine. Friday morning came with perfect mountain sunshine and 57 unread messages. Daniel made coffee while I scrolled through the aftermath, feeling like an archaeologist examining the ruins of a fallen civilization. The family group chat had devolved into confessions and finger-pointing. Michael admitted he'd never once thought about how much I spent on family dinners. Olivia calculated that I'd probably invested over $20,000 in family events over the years between groceries, gifts, decorations, and gas. Mom had gone silent after midnight, but not before sending one last message. The house has never felt so empty. Individual apologies had trickled in overnight. Michael's was characteristically brief. We fucked up. Sorry. Sarah had sent a longer message about how she finally understood why I'd disappeared, how she'd watched her husband flounder with his own children and realized how much invisible labor I'd been doing. But the message that stopped me cold came from Olivia, sent at 3:12 a.m. I became everything I swore I wouldn't be a woman who dumps her kids on another woman while claiming feminism and success. I lecture about equality in courtrooms, but treated my own sister like hired help. The twins asked if you hate them now. I didn't know what to say because I wouldn't blame you if you hated all of us. I'm sorry doesn't feel like enough. But it's where I start. Daniel read it over my shoulder. That's actually pretty self-aware. 8 years too late, I said, but without the venom I'd felt yesterday. We spent Friday hiking, shopping in small mountain towns, and talking about everything except my family. But by evening, I knew I had to make some decisions about what came next. As we sat by the cabin's fireplace, I finally called Mom back. She answered on the first ring. Emily. Her voice was hoarse, probably from crying. Hi, Mom. Are you okay? Are you safe? Are you coming home? I'm fine. I'm in Tennessee with my boyfriend Daniel, and I am home. Chicago is home. Oh, a pause. How long have you been seeing him? 6 months. He's wonderful. He has his own business, treats me like an equal, and has never once asked me to babysit anyone. I'd like to meet him, she said quietly. Properly. Not at some chaotic family event where we ignore you both. It was a start. Maybe. Eventually. But things need to change first. Tell me what you need. I took a deep breath. No more assumptions that I'll handle things. If you need help, ask, don't assign. And accept if I say no. No more separate tables for kids and adults if I'm watching the children. Either we all eat together, or parents watch their own kids. No more expecting me to fund family events solo. We split costs or rotate who hosts. And absolutely no more discussing me like I'm the help when you think I can't hear. Those all sound reasonable, she said, and I could hear her crying again. Emily, I need you to know something. After you left, after the chaos died down, we sat at that dining room table, the adult table, and it felt wrong. Not just because the food wasn't as good or the children were melting down. Because you weren't there. My daughter wasn't there. I've never been there. Mom, that's the point. I know. God, I know that now. Roger asked why we did it that way, and I couldn't explain it. It just happened, year after year. It became the pattern. Patterns can be broken, I said. Will you come for Christmas? I thought about it. If things change, real change, not just promises. And I'm bringing Daniel. He'll be treated as my partner, not as potential help. We'll stay in a hotel, visit on our schedule, and leave if things revert to old patterns. I understand. And Mom, I want a real apology. Not just for yesterday, but for the years of taking me for granted, from everyone. You'll get it, I promise. After we hung up, I sat staring at the fire. Daniel wrapped his arms around me. You okay? You know what the ironic part is, I said. I actually like cooking for them. I like being helpful. I even enjoy the kids. But somewhere along the way, my choice to help became their expectation. My gifts became obligations. My love became labor. So what now? Now we see if they can actually change. If Christmas becomes another disaster, that's it. I'm done. But maybe, just maybe, they learned something. My phone buzzed with a notification from Venmo. Michael had sent me $500 with a note. For all the beers you bought over the years, it's not enough, but it's a start. Then another from Olivia, $1,000. For babysitting, should be more, will be more. I showed Daniel. They're literally trying to pay me now. Better than nothing. I accepted the payments. They were right, it wasn't enough, but it was acknowledgement. Finally. Saturday morning, we drove home to Chicago. My apartment felt like a sanctuary, filled with my reclaimed belongings. My mixer sat proudly on my counter. My serving dishes gleamed in my cabinet. My life, my things, my choices. I texted the family group. I'm back in Chicago. Thank you for the apologies and the money. Let's talk about Christmas in a few weeks. For now, I need space to process everything. The responses were immediate but respectful. Take your time. We understand. Love you. For the first time in 8 years, they were waiting for me instead of the other way around. That evening, Daniel and I cooked dinner together in my kitchen, a simple pasta, nothing elaborate, no one to impress, no children to feed, no family drama to navigate, just us. Any regrets? He asked, echoing his question from Thanksgiving. No, I said, and meant it. They needed to see what they'd been taking for granted, and I needed to stop letting them. And Christmas. We'll see, but this time, it's on my terms. My phone sat silent on the counter. No urgent texts about forgotten items. No assumptions about my availability. No plans being made without my consent. For the first time in years, I was just Emily, not the default babysitter, not the family servant, not the single sister with nothing better to do. Just Emily, choosing her own path, one boundary at a time. The sweetest revenge. It wasn't their panic or their apologies or even their money. It was this sitting in my own kitchen with someone who valued me, living a life where I was the main character, not the supporting cast. They say the best revenge is a life well lived. As I clinked my wine glass against Daniel's, I finally understood what that meant. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I'd love to know where you're listening from. Drop a comment below and let's connect. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts. Have you ever felt taken for granted by family? How did you handle it? Let's discuss in the comments.